inside that you don't know. I can't wait to get you all alone. Once I'm in, there ain't no letting go. Mind games until you lose control.
Mic check. Mic check. Are we good? Can you guys hear me? Give me a little mic check. I don't see the little audio thing. Move it. But I hope it's working, because I'm about to hit you with a big ol' Alpha Day trading. Good morning and happy Money Tuesday, traders. What's up? What's going on? Welcome back. And again, happy Tuesday, guys. It is the second official day of December. Not really. It's the third official day, but we don't count last Friday. We're going to start strong this week, right? It was a profitable Friday. But we want to start the month of December with a full week ahead of us. So today, I'm counting it as day number 2 of December, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to crush it. I am ready to take advantage of this market and lock in some amazing profits with you guys. So hit me with a big old good morning. Who is inside the chat right now? Who is excited? Who is ready to rock and roll? And then if you're on YouTube right now as well, are you excited? Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to have an amazing day in the market? Because I'm going to take this time over the next hour during the pre-market rundown to get you guys prepared for today's trading session. Make sure you're going to take advantage of all the opportunity out there, break down my personal game plans as well, help you get prepared, and help you make some money in the market. So hit me with a good morning. Where are you guys tuning in from as well? And who do we have over on YouTube who is ready to rock this morning? I'm excited to be here, guys. Let's get it. Tim, what's up, man? Logan, Kevin, Zach, Attack. What's up, brother? Trader Adam, Corey. Good morning, Craig and Steve M inside the chat. Jonathan, Stir, Shannon. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Oh, and Kevin. What's up, dude? Good morning. I just saw you. Good morning, guys. Jason, what's up? Christy, how we doing? I am so excited to be here, guys. Let's rock and roll. Tom over on YouTube, what's up, dude? Johnny Dalla, Erica Sims, good morning. Kyle. Hey, Zeus, what's up, man? Good morning. And everybody else, hit me with a good morning as well over on the tube. Again, we look pretty good. Look at this young, handsome man right here, getting ready to help you guys out become better traders. What a good-looking dude. What a nice guy as well. I love it. All right, audio's good. Stream looks great. We are ready to rock and roll. You guys are on TikTok right now, and you're like, where are you at? Who are you talking to? Come over to YouTube. The channel is Alpha Day Trading. Join the pre-market rundown. I'm going to break down everything that I'm looking at. What are my expectations? What are my game plans for the day? How am I looking to come in, navigate this market, make money in this market? So I'm going to give you guys everything you need to be as prepared as possible for today. Let's go ahead and start with the economic calendar. Everybody inside the chat knows what we got going on today. We do have 10 o'clock data dropping, and it's very, very important data dropping today here at 10 a.m. guys, right? So we do have ISM services PMI. And we have Jolt's job openings data dropping here at 10 o'clock. You guys remember last month when we had Jolt's data drop? Woo, wait, was that last month? I think it was last month. I don't remember what month it was. But Jolt's dropped and the SPY dropped like 6 points in like 5 minutes. That was fun. That was exciting. So we know that this is the type of data that can absolutely rock and move the market. So 2 key takeaways. There will be volume and volatility that moves in, most likely, right? There's a high certainty that when 10 o'clock data drops, the market's going to move. There's going to be more volume and volatility, and that's how we thrive as day traders. I'm excited, but you got to be mindful that if you're in a position leading up to 10 o'clock, you should do one of 2 things. Number 1, flatten your position, because if you're in a position through data, you're gambling, right? You have no idea how the market's going to react. So number 1, flatten your position. Reduce the risk, eliminate the risk, right? And just be flat. Wait for data to drop, see how the market reacts, and go from there. Or put a hard stop in the system just to protect yourself, right? If you're already in a nice position, you're green, put a stop in, right? If it goes with you, you're going to make a shit ton of money. If it doesn't go with you, at least you're protecting yourself with a stop in the system. So make sure you're mindful and you're managing your risk. Most of the time, guys, it's like flatten your position. Right? It's that simple. Flatten the position, let the market move, let the market set back up, and re-attack it. It's very simple. 10 o'clock data today. Be super mindful of that, guys. All right? Let's go ahead and start breaking down the SPY. Then we'll dive into the Qs, my top option plays for today, and then we literally have no penny stocks on watch for the day. The only penny stock this morning was ALLR that we were discussing here in pre-market for the break and retest of $1. And then we were looking at that nice little higher low break of the downtrend that we did call out here inside a chat. And I actually took this long for about 15 to 20 cents to the upside. So my first trade was the break and retest of $1. Nice little scalp. Then we saw that nice higher low break of the downtrend. We posted that inside a chat for you guys this morning. Nice second winner on the day. That's already putting me up $626 on the day. So the early bird is out here getting the worm. So it's a great way to start the day. Already up some great profits. And I'm ready to continue to add to the bottom line if we see amazing trades today. All right, but again, back to the SPY. Let's go ahead and break this down today. All right, so I don't really expect to see too much, leading up to Jolts. Now, I could be wrong, but I would expect more kind of sideways choppy, right? Leading up to very, very important data. That's Jolts data. 10 o'clock. ISM services data dropping at 10 o'clock as well. So I don't expect to see big moves until we have 10 o'clock data drop. But that doesn't mean there can't be trading opportunity leading up to 10 o'clock. But I think the bigger moves, obviously, will come after data drops, especially if we see a nice reaction in the market. Okay, so I want to point out one key level, and this is really my line in the sand for today, guys, right? This is my make or break as far as like, do we have potential to see some downside today? Are we going to have another day to the downside? My key line in the sand is this zone between 453.53 and 453.93 here on the SPY. That's my make or break. If we ever see the SPY coming below that zone today, I definitely want to be looking to play the market short and start looking to get in to put contracts if we ever fall below and stay below that key zone. Where would I be looking to shorten the market down to? Well, I see potential down to 451.95 and then 451.37. That's going to be my first main target to the short side today. Okay, that's if we set up for a great short, right? But that's not to say that the SPY is going to come down, crack that level, and drop. We may not have any opportunity today to play the market short. What if the SPY comes on down and actually holds that key zone of support, right? Well, if we come down and hold that key zone of support, we may have a better long opportunity. So we need to have an opposite plan in place just in case, right? We already have the short plan. If we fall below that zone, stay below that zone, we're looking to play puts. Pretty simple stuff. Right? If we come into that zone and we don't fall below it and we stay above it and we actually see there's more aggressive buying and more passive selling taking place and we see the opportunity present itself to the long side, that's going to be an area where I'm going to be looking to play the market long. Where to? Well, there's a couple couple areas that we can see the market get to, but I really want to focus on key levels, key zones, right? There's going to be some light levels to the upside, right? If you go back and look at yesterday, you can see that we had a lot of support right in this zone, right? Between 455.47 and 455.70. That would be a first target to the upside, but that's not the key area that I'm going to be paying attention to. I think there's another more significant level that I want to be paying attention to. And that first key significant level is going to be 456.95. That's going to be yesterday's high a day. And why is that significant? Because that's going to be the bottom end of this gap, right? We have this big gap that was created from Friday into Monday. And you can see that there is a gap between 456.95 and 458.60. That's why the lower end of the gap is going to be a pretty key significant level for me, right? Because if we ever see the SPY come up to that 456.95 level, get above it and hold above it, we have potential to do what? Come up and close that gap all the way up at 458.60. So that's what I would be looking at today here on the SPY, right? If we do not come through that zone, fall below it to get puts. If we come down into that zone, for example, hold above it, I'll be looking to play calls up to 456.95. If we ever break and hold 456.95, I will continue to hold that position to see if we actually close that gap up at 458.60 here on the SPY. Okay, so that's going to be a couple of game plans today if we see the SPY come down into that zone. Okay, but what if the SPY doesn't open and come down into that zone? What if the SPY opens and just starts to push on up to that 456.95? I will simply be looking to see if the SPY can get above that 456.95. If we break and hold it, I'll be looking to play calls to see if we come up and close that gap at 458.60. That's about $1.60 of upside potential today on the SPY if we ever see it setting up perfectly for that daily gap, right? So that's going to be the other plan if we don't see it come down into support first and we start to move on up. A key level that I'm going to be paying close attention to is 456.95. That's going to be another, make or break for the SPY, right? Because who's to say we come up and break and hold that level and get a gap fill? We may not be able to get inside of that daily gap. We may never set up for a daily gap fill trade. So if we come up to that 456.95 and get rejected and we just can't break and get inside of that gap, that's an area that I'd actually be looking to get short off of for the next leg down, right? So we have like 4 different variations of a game plan for the day. But hey, at least I'm prepared, right? At least I have multiple plans established, ready to go, and my expectations are set. All I have to do is wait for the market to come to me, provide me with an A-plus opportunity, and I simply react to the market. It's simple. I'm already prepared. I know exactly how I want to be looking to trade the market. We come down to that zone and hold it, I'm going to play calls, right? Simple stuff. We come down to that zone, fall below it, stay below it, I want to be looking to play puts. Pretty simple stuff. We have 2 game plans off that lower zone of key support, right? What if we don't come down to key support? What if we come up to that 456.95? Well, game plan number 1 is if we can't break that zone, that's where I want to be looking to play puts off key resistance. But if we do come up, get inside of that daily gap and hold the lower end, that's an area where I want to be looking to play calls, right? So I have 2 plans established if the SPY comes up to 456.95 first, and I have 2 plans established if we come down into this key zone of support first. And that key zone of support to the downside is 453.52 to 453.93. So I have 4 plans established. I am prepared. I'm ready to go. I know exactly where my profit targets would be. I know exactly where the market is most likely to go. All I now have to do is be super disciplined, super patient, wait for the market to come to one of these levels and set up, right? Establish multiple reasons to take a trade, build my plan, get positioned, react to the market, and let the market do its thing. That's it. Super simple to trade. Just be disciplined, be patient, wait for the market to come to you. All right, so that's going to be my game plan today with the SPY, just based off these key daily zones of support resistance. But like I said, we may be more or less sideways leading up to 10 o'clock data. Then we may see some big movement and a lot of volume and volatility return to the market as we have JOLTS data dropping at 10 o'clock. So the first 30 minutes may be subpar, right? It may. So just be super smart, be very, very mindful of that, and just get positioned correctly. Manage your risk, do the right things, guys. All right, so there are a couple other things that stand out to me, but I don't want to get anybody to bias, right? Because when I start breaking other things down, you know, some traders get super biased. I don't want you guys to be biased for the day. I want you guys to be super neutral, right down the middle. You're not a bull, you're not a bear. You're not bullish, you're not bearish, right? I want you to be right down the middle, 50-50, and just wait for the market to come to you. But the more analysis I do, the more that I see that suggests more downside today. But I want to go ahead and strip that off the table and just focus on these key important zones and really go from there. But the biggest thing that I want to point out, guys, is we did have this really nice uptrend from yesterday, and we did crack below it, right? So we have seen a couple of days back to back of cracking trend lines and dropping, cracking trend lines and dropping. That leads me to believe that we could still see a little bit more downside, right? Just one thing that I wanted to point out to you, all right? But with that being said, focus on those key zones, those key levels, and let's attack the market. Do you guys have any questions regarding the SPY before we move into the Qs and give you guys the game plan for the Qs today? If you do, just say, hey, man, I have another question regarding the SPY. We'll go back to it, and we will review it again. Okay, but let's go ahead and dive into QQQ. My line in the sand for today on the Qs. What is up with this trend line? That is the wild looking trend line. Let's take that trend line. Let's change the visibility off the minutes. Okay, well, that's not right. Let's go change that back to a 1 hour. Perfect. So you can see here on the 1 hour on Qs, we do have a pretty solid downtrend here, right? We also have this big gap that could get filled as well. The gap on the Qs is between 386.59 and 389.52, right? So you would think that if we get above 386.59, that you could see QQQ push all the way up, right, to 389.52. That's what you would think. But there is this downtrend here that may, you know, we may get stuffed. We may hit that trend line and not able to actually come up and close that gap. So that's one thing that I want you guys to be super mindful of, is just go back into last Wednesday's high, go into Friday's high a day, and you do have this valid downtrend, and you could be coming into a 0.3 today for the next leg down. And you are coming off of a lower low prior to possibly hitting 0.3 of that downtrend. So I want you guys to be very mindful of that multi-day downtrend that we have on the Qs, right? You would think that we could come up and close that gap, but you do have a pretty key significant downtrend that could hold the price down, and we could see the next leg down today here on the Qs. So be mindful of that. You can see it. It's clear as day on the 1 hour, and you can even go back and throw it on up here on the 5 minute and just go through and connect those highs. You're connecting, again, Wednesday's high a day, and you're running that thing up into Friday's high a day, and you can see that we do have this downtrend right here, okay? So even if we break above 386.59 and get inside of that daily gap level, we still have to clear that downtrend resistance. Okay, so there is still going to be some overhead resistance prior to getting up to this 389.52 level. Okay, but if we do see QQQ breaking above the lower end of that gap, which is 386.59, if we do see it hit that trend line, get rejected, pull back and actually stay above 386.59, that could lead to a nice higher low break of the downtrend for the next leg up. That's a possibility. So keep that on watch. That's an idea. That's a game plan, right? If we do see the Qs getting inside of that daily gap, holding that lower level, and eventually breaking that downtrend, that could lead to a nice big push to the upside, and then we could see the Qs possibly filling that gap at 389.52. But if we fail to break that downtrend, right, we do technically have potential back into yesterday's low of day, and that's between 382.63 and 381.17, guys, right? So that's going to be a key make or break level today here on the Qs. Is this lower zone between 382.63 and 383.17? That is a make or break. If we ever see the Qs falling below that zone, there is a lot of downside here on the Qs. We have potential all the way back down to like 378.50 if we ever lose that key zone today. So keep that zone on high watch. Very similar game plan as the SPY, right? It's like we may not come below that zone, stay below it, and get the opportunity to play the market short. That may not happen, but if it does, we know exactly where we want to be getting short, exactly where we want to be getting short too. But that may not take place. That may not set up. So always have an opposite plan in place just in case. If we come down into that zone and hold on up, well, that looks pretty bullish, right? If we see a good opportunity to get long off this key zone of support, that's going to be an area where I want to be looking to play calls. Where to? I would say the lower end of that daily gap. And the lower end of that daily gap is that 386.59. And it could also be right where that downtrend is at the same time. So not only would you have the lower end of that gap as resistance, you would still have a lot of downtrend resistance as well. So those are going to be a couple game plans for the day, guys. Game plan number one, if the Qs come down to that key daily zone and we fall below it and stay below it and we see a great short opportunity present itself, I would be looking to play some puts down to this 378.29 to 378.58 zone here on QQQ, right? But if the Qs come on down into that key zone of support and we actually hold above it, I'll be looking to play some calls up into the lower end of that gap, which is between 386.59. Yeah, just right at 386.59. And then it's also 0.3 of that downtrend. So we can see that's going to be a pretty key overhead level of resistance here on the Qs. So that's going to be two different game plans if we come down into this key zone of support first, okay? But what if we don't? Same thing as the SPY. Like, what if we don't drop first? What if we see the Qs pushing on up into the downtrend first, into that key daily zone of resistance, the lower end of that gap? That would be an area where if we can't break above, I would then be looking to play puts for the next leg down off of these two very key, very valid overhead levels of resistance, okay? But what if the Qs break that 389.56? What if we hit that trend line, pull back, actually stay above 389.56? What if that's what we see take place and we're still technically holding above the lower end of the gap? It's very, very possible that we see that gap get filled. We could see a nice little higher low break of that trend line for the next leg up to close that gap. That would be a pretty solid game plan to the long side if that's what we see take place. So I always want to have as many different plans established as possible, different ideas. What could we see take place? What's realistic? And start, be forward looking, look ahead, be prepared, right? Like worst case scenario, you spend 5 minutes to build these hypothetical plans to at least get an idea of what could happen today, and nothing plays out. All you did was waste 5 to 10 minutes. But the best thing that can happen is you actually see one of these plans and one of these trade ideas present itself, and you already know exactly how you want to attack it. You know exactly where your target's going to be. You know exactly how to get involved in that stock with confidence because you're already prepared, right? You can simply react at that point in time and take advantage of the market. So that's what I like to do. I like to come in and think of every possible scenario for the day based on my zones, my levels, how we're gapping up, if we're gapping down, how we're moving in pre-market. I like to take everything into consideration. I don't just want to be looking for longs because I'm biased. I don't want to be just looking for shorts because I'm biased. I want to be neutral. And I want to think of as many different possible scenarios as possible and build these hypothetical plans just to be one step ahead, just to be prepared. So when the time comes and the opportunity presents itself, I can simply react and attack and lock in some profits in the market, guys. Right, so those are going to be those key zones to really be paying attention to here on the Qs today. All right, again, if you guys are just now tuning in, we have that trend line from Wednesday's high a day into Friday's high a day, and we will have a 0.3 of the trend line possibly coming on up, okay? We also do have this gap, right, between 386.59 and 389.52. That gap could get filled today. That's very possible, okay? So that's something to definitely keep on watch. So we have some key daily support down at 382.63 to 383.17. And that's going to be a make or break. If we fail to hold that level and we fall below it, there's a lot of downside today, guys. And we could see the Qs all the way down into the 378. So definitely keep this zone on high watch. And again, we have JOLTS data at 10 o'clock. We may not see a whole lot of action until 10. Then we may start to see some volatility and some movement today. All right, so those are my expectations with both the SPY and the Qs. My zones, my levels, right? How am I looking to come in and navigate this market? And how am I looking to make money? And then my game plans as well for you guys today as well. So if anybody has any questions about the SPY, the Qs, my analysis, my zones, the game plans, my expectations, whatever the case is, go ahead and let me know before we move into Tesla, CRM, and Microsoft. We do have some decent potential with those three stocks. Tesla, CRM, and Microsoft for today. Catherine, what's up? Good morning. The Sizzler. Felicia, what's up, Felicia? Good morning. Yeah, SPY, 100%. I got key daily support down between 453.52 and 453.93. All right, if we fall below that zone, we have room down to 451.37 to 451.95. Okay, top resistance right now, the lower end of the daily gap. That's at 456.95. We break that level of resistance and we start to see a gap fill. We have room to 458.60 here on the SPY today to possibly close that gap that was created from Friday into Monday. All right. Let's go ahead and break down the good old Tesla. Is it Tesla? No, I don't see potential on Tesla. I thought I did, but I'm incorrect. It was actually CRM looks decent. So I'm just watching this daily gap on CRM. All right, so if we see CRM getting a continuation move to the downside, right, I'm looking to see if CRM can fall below and stay below this zone right here, right? And I'm going to readjust it just a smidge and make sure my points are connected. Boop. But if we see CRM falling below and holding below this zone, which is between 249.71 and 249.86, I would be looking to get short on CRM down to 249 even, and then the top end of this big daily gap. Look at that big daily gap. That would put you at 243.61. That's a pretty big drop. That's about 7 points to the downside. And then in the coming days and in the coming weeks, if we ever see CRM entering this daily gap zone, I would be looking to take a potential short, again, in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Really depends on how long that takes to come down, if we even come down to that level in the first place. But if we ever see CRM getting below and staying below that 243.61 level, I would be looking to get short on CRM for the next leg down to close that daily gap at 238.31. But I see another great trading opportunity well before it gets down into the top end of that gap. And that's if we fall below Friday's low of day and yesterday's low of day. That could lead to a nice little continuation move to the downside into that 243.61. And I would like to get short well before it gets down to 243.61 if there's a great opportunity in front of us. And it looks like we're going to be opening below that zone. So as long as CRM stays below that zone as resistance, there's a lot of great potential to come back down to 243.61. And like I said, if we ever see CRM getting below and staying below that zone, entering the gap level, we could see a nice little gap fill short opportunity present itself. It could even happen today. Who knows? I don't know how big the stock's going to move, but at least at some point in the coming days, we could absolutely see that gap getting filled to the short side. But here's one last thing I want to point out. All right, I'm looking at the daily, right? Looking at these two prior lows of day. We're below those 2 points. I would really prefer this to stay below that level of resistance. But the market's going to do what the market wants to do. And there could still be a really good short setup, even if we break above that zone. So if we break above that zone, I'm not going to get short, but I still think there could be great short opportunity at a higher point. And what would that higher point be? I would say up here between 252.03 to 252.79. Why is that? Well, it's a prior zone of resistance, correct? So if we came on up through that lower zone and we pushed on up into that next upper zone of resistance, that's between 252.03 and 252.79, and we hit that level and we top on out, right? What would that be? That would be one massive head and shoulders formation. That's very bearish. We could see that next leg down to close that gap. So that's another trade idea. We may break above that zone of resistance. I wouldn't get short because I would see potential up into the 252s. And if we hit that zone and top on out, that's going to be another great area that I'm looking to get short for that next leg down here on CRM. So I see great potential on CRM today, tomorrow, really depends on how we set up. But I am seeing some phenomenal potential here with CRM coming on up right around the corner, guys. So keep that on high watch. Overall, I'm just looking to see what zone do we get stuffed at? What zone do we come up to and hit and get rejected to where I can be getting short to see if we ever come down and close that daily gap, guys. Tons of great potential, tons of opportunity here with CRM. So keep that on high watch as well. And then lastly, we got Microsoft for a gap fill to the long side, guys, right? So we see this nice little gap down yesterday. So look at Friday's low of day. That's at 371.35. Look at yesterday's high of day. That's at 369.55. Okay, that left a beautiful little gap here on Microsoft. If Microsoft ever breaks and holds 369.55, I would look to play calls up to 371.35 here on Microsoft. That gives you just about $1.80 of upside potential. And it's a gap fill. It's super simple. If we break that level, we pull back and hold it, that's where I would want to be getting long to see if we come on up and close the gap at 371.35. We have about $1.80 of upside potential. And these are boom or bust trades. If it falls back below 369.55, you want to get out. So stops, 50 cents away. Target, almost $2. That's nearly a 4-to-1 setup for this potential daily gap fill. Trade idea number one, ladies and gentlemen. But I also see something else that really stands out to me. Depending on how long it takes to fill the gap, like if it does fill the gap, let's say that we see it get inside the gap zone, hold above it, and we look to actually play calls for the daily gap. I think that's awesome, right? We have about $1.80 to the upside. But depending on if and when, right, if that even happens and when that happens, if we do see the gap get filled and this downtrend hit at the same time, I would absolutely take that for a daily gap fill rejection, right? Not just because it's a daily gap fill rejection, but also it would be point number 3 of the downtrend. So there's 2 great opportunities here on Microsoft. Number 1 is a daily gap fill, $1.80 to the upside. Then a potential daily gap fill short, and you also have that being 0.3 of this multi-day downtrend, making this a killer opportunity to possibly get short at 371.35 if we hit that level today on Microsoft. Microsoft looks wonderful. It's one of my favorite stocks today. I'm keeping this one on high watch, guys. I think there's great potential here. Great long opportunity, great short opportunity. Let's keep this one on high watch there on Microsoft. So I got CRM looking pretty good. But Microsoft absolutely takes priority. This one looks even better, but still going to watch CRM. All right, still going to watch CRM. I really do like it. Think there's some potential here. But most definitely Microsoft, guys. All right. And then we're all set, ready to rock and roll with the SPY and the Qs. And we are ready to attack this market, ladies and gentlemen. So I am excited. All right, so that is my watch list for the day. Giving you guys the game plan and the breakdown with the SPY, the Qs, right? My top option plays for today, CRM and Microsoft looking exceptional, looking beautiful. We're going to have a fun day in the market. We should have a profitable day in the market. There's going to be tons of opportunity, guys. So let's crush it. You guys have any questions, let me know. But right now, we're just awaiting for the market to open. You guys want to join the Zoom, you guys can join the Zoom. The Zoom is open at 9 o'clock every single morning for you guys. You don't have to wait until like 9:30. You can come in. You have a question, you have a stock you want reviewed. Let's jam, guys. We got all the time in the world. No, we don't. We don't have all the time in the world. We got literally 25 minutes. But it's a good amount of time. If you're going to watch a pity stock today, ALLR, all you want to see this thing do is get back above, right, and hold above $1. You do have room to 150 today on ALLR. So if you can break above and hold above $1 today with ALLR, you do have potential up towards around 150. So absolutely keep that one on watch, guys. Jason, Kevin, what's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning, man. How are you doing today? Awesome, dude. Ready to attack it, my friend? I love it. Yeah, man. So what are the goals and intentions? What are you coming in today to be mindful besides patient? Anything else? I love it, man. Great game plan. Be patient. I love it, man. You're on the right track. Let's get it. Be a good day for you, Kevin. What about you, Jason? How you doing, man? How you feeling today, boss? So you're going to wait until after 10. Yeah, because you already have that 15-minute no trade thing anyway. It's like, yeah, you only got 15-minute window. So it's like, yeah, wait for data to drop and let's see how the market moves, man. Exactly. What are your goals and intentions for the day, boss? You said you had a good morning routine today? Start of the morning, strong. You crushed the first 2 hours of the day, so you're feeling really good. Awesome, man. Awesome. How your trading been going the last few days? I know we haven't had a chance to really to talk, but the last few days, how's everything been going, man? You still following the system that we built for you? But that's okay. And the reason I say that's okay is because it's like we need to have a mistake. We need to break it because then we can compare that to when we don't break it. And we have a phenomenal comparison of like, I don't like this feeling when I break it. I don't like the results. I want to go back to what was working, right? And following that system that's proven to work, proven to put money in my account, man. So I love it. I mean, I don't love it that you broke it, but it's good to have that comparison. I love it, man. It's like, yeah, one step back, but that realization and you being able to just pick that day apart, pick those trades apart, that gives you the ability to take those next 2-3 steps forward, man. So as long as you took time to really reflect upon whatever day that was, whatever trade it was, and really just project the positives into the next day, right? Learn from the mistakes, build rules around mistakes, but don't focus too much on the negatives. Focus on the positives and project that into the next trading session, and that's how you're going to be able to bounce back very, very strong, man. So As long as you did that, you did the right thing, dude. But good stuff, man. I'm very proud of you. You guys have been crushing it lately. You guys really have been on fire. Why is the market tanking? I wouldn't say the market's tanking. I'd say the market's gapping down a little bit. We closed at 456.69. We're at 454.96. I wouldn't say we're tanking, but we're definitely pulling back. So if you guys have anything, stocks on watch, want me to review, let me know, guys. I mean, this is the time that you can still use me and abuse me and pick my brain, man. We got 20 minutes until the market opens. This session, we were very thorough, but we didn't have a lot to discuss. We discussed, what, like 5 plays for today? And that's it, man. We got the 5 best of the best opportunities for the day. So if there's anything you guys want me to take a look at that's on your watch list, just let me know, guys. Yeah, so a swing trade. And I put this little back burner list together for like Alejandro. He's not here, but he swing trades. And there's a couple things that I saw. It's like we came down to the upper shadow of that gap on Wednesday. Nice bounce, right? Just to come back down here Friday to that same mark. Nice bounce. And then again yesterday for the 3rd day, nice bounce. But look at that volume. You see the volume? It started to increase, but that spread is much lower than the past 3 days. Volume price analysis. Low spread, higher volume, number 1. Number 2, it's holding that zone, that gap zone. And then number 3, it's a 50% retracement. And you have that tap, tap, tap price action. There's like 3 or 4 things that I see on Disney. Coming down, closing the gap, right? Great price action for 3 days back to back into that 50% retracement. Volume started to tick up yesterday, right? And the spread was much lower. And then the last thing is we do have the short-term downtrend that we may come through and, may be able to break. Why? That's not my downtrend. There's no way that's my there's no way. What time frame was I on when I identified that trend line? That was not how it was this morning. There was no way I ran a trend line through that high. But you still see there's a lot of connection points off that trend line. I mean, it's pretty valid, but I don't remember seeing that. And then you have this downtrend. So what I would be looking to do, it's like, we came down into 1, 2, 3 key levels of support. Price action looked good. Volume price analysis, low spread, high volume. If we hold that zone and we start to break that downtrend on a lower time frame, that could be some indication to start getting this long for maybe a multi-day swing to the upside. I'm just looking at this range from November 10th to current. I'm just looking at this area. I'm not thinking like a multi-week swing trade. I'm thinking like a multi-day swing trade. That's what Alejandro primarily does. So I'm looking at a multi-day. I'm really just focused on, this type of zone right here to see like where. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Yep. And it's a nice little retest of that downtrend break. Yeah, so you just added 2 extra things on top of what I saw. So that just validates the trade even more, man. But I like it. I think there could be potential. It's like if we can hold above that 91.50 to like 91.74, and we can start to see a nice break of that trend line on a lower time frame and price action looks good, hey, I think that could be a nice little low risk, decent reward opportunity as you have like 4 to 5 separate reasons that suggest, hey, there's a potential long right around the corner here on Disney. Obviously, it depends on what the market does today, right? If the SPY and the Q's dump, Disney's most likely gonna correlate and move in sympathy with the broader market. But if we see good data drop and the SPY and the Q start to pop and move to the upside, hey, that could really help Disney get that break and get that leg on up to like 93.60. That's what I saw there on the good old Disney. And then I was looking at DocuSign as well. There's nothing here coming up. I was watching this for a swing trade last week, and we had a massive move to the upside. I'm just going to watch it up into this zone of resistance and see what happens in the coming days. That's why that was a back burner. And then Spotify was actually a gap fill to the short side. I don't know why it back burnered Spotify. If we fall below 192 on spot, right, we have that gap all the way down at 185.59. So I'm just curious to see what happens. There's two things that are going to happen. I can't say how many times we see a gap, the stock comes down into the top of the gap and then rips. Right, it's a great level of support, 192. So if we come down and hold 192 on Spotify, I would say we have room back up to these highs from yesterday. That could be a great long. But if we ever see spot come down below that 192 and enter that daily gap zone, there's a lot of great potential to see this thing fade and fall to 185.59. So that's another one that I want to keep on watch. And like I said, I don't know why that went to the bottom of the watch list because that one looks good. So it's Microsoft, Spotify, CRM are my top 3 option plays for today. Tesla is definitely a little bit of a back burner. Just looking to see what we do at this lower zone of support that we've been pretty much all over the past couple weeks now. Looking to see what happens on Tesla. We have an understanding on Disney and what I'm seeing here. And then DocuSign, it's definitely a back burner. But I think this could be setting up and giving us something in the coming days. What do we got? We got about 15 minutes until the market opens on up. Mara. M-A-R-A. I'm not on mute. You guys can hear me fine. I mean, audio is being pumped through loud and clear. So, yeah. So, again, with these crypto-related stocks, I've been in these for like 45 days. So, I come in a little biased because I'm like, guys, like I'm already in. The stock's up 50, 60, 70%. It's like you're way too late. These are better swing trades than day trades, in my opinion. So I was already in these 30, 45 days ago because I had a really strong bullish outlook with crypto. And so I was entering Hive, Mara, Riot, BITF, and BITO. And so if we go take a look at MARA, here's a couple things that, I would just, really keep on watch. Obviously, these stocks are going to move as long as Bitcoin continues to move. So you always have to be watching Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's having a strong day, these stocks can have a pretty strong day. If Bitcoin starts to pull back below 40K, these stocks are going to probably tank. So be mindful of that. But a little bit of a gap here from Friday into the low of day yesterday here on MARA. So, I mean, you could come down as low as 1372, fill that gap before seeing the next leg up. But like I said, if Bitcoin is having a really great day, you may just see this thing shoot to the upside, right? If you see Bitcoin have a not so good of a day, this stock is going to get hit and the technicals may not be respected. That's why I don't want to like day trade these stocks. That's why I'm in for the long term, right? I'm over 6 months out on this trade and I've been getting in 30, 45 days ago. But if you look at MARA, you got some support at 1405. If you fall below 1405, you can come down to 1372 and close that gap, right? And that could be an area where you get a gap fill bounce for the next leg on up. So that's where your lower levels of support are going to be here on MARA. And then it's very clear where resistance is up against yesterday's open and yesterday's high a day. So top resistance here is going to be between 1534 and 1554 here on MARA. And if we get a break over that level and Bitcoin's having a good day, I mean, shoot, we have room all the way back up into these highs. And those were my targets, right? I got $15 strikes when this thing was at like $9. I was taking $15 calls going April of 2024. These are probably going to be in the money today, and we'll see what they look like. Yesterday, I think a couple of them were in the money. Some of them, these were up 300-400% on those options. But like a day trade, it's going to be, in my opinion, I won't say challenging, but you got to put a lot of weight and emphasis on Bitcoin, for example, because these are correlating very, very, very closely to Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts to drop, these start to drop, regardless of the technicals. Bitcoin starts to really pop and rally through 42K. These things can pop and rally as well. But like I said, I've been getting in for a nice little 6-month-long swing trade a couple months ago. But those are your zones and levels with MARA. Oh, SAVA? Oh, I used to love trading SAVA. This thing used to be fun to trade, man. This thing was a wild, wild, wild small cap, man. Let's take a look at SAVA and see what we got going on. But this one used to be one of my most favorite stocks to trade when I traded small caps. I made a lot of money on this stock. Resistance. I mean, I don't know if it's resistance. I got to see where the stock's at. But zone, 2333 to 2383. Going to be a decent little zone. Yeah, it's a pretty decent little zone here. And then just looking at that spiking high, which is also in line with all of that resistance right here. And that's between 2548 and 26. You can see that's going to be a pretty solid level as well. Where's the stock at this morning? Are we below those two zones? Yeah, we're below those two zones. SAVA doesn't look fantastic. I don't think it looks fantastic. Personally, that's just my 2 cents. But here's the deal. It's like there's no volume in pre-market. That's the only thing. There's just no volume. But where are we going to be gapping up? Are we going to be gapping up? Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. So here's the deal, man. As long as you hold above, because you're gapping up slightly. You're going to be gapping up slightly. As long as you hold above yesterday's close up into yesterday's high a day, that zone, which is between 2214 and 2223, I would say short term, you would have some potential up to this zone right here. So it's a light area of resistance, but it's still a pretty solid level that stands out to me. That's between like, yeah, it's like right at 23 bucks. So I mean, you may have like 75 cents to the upside into your first target. Then I would say you would have room to like 23.46 up to like 23.79. No, I wouldn't connect that high. I would go back up against these lows. That looks a lot better to me. Yeah, I would say like 23.46 to like 23.50. I mean, there's not tons of upside. I mean, maybe 75 cents into the first target. I mean, yeah, I mean, as long as you hold yesterday's, close and high a day, that zone as support, you could see it up to 23 bucks. That's a nice little, 75, 80 cents of upside here with SAVA. Oh, that's probably why I said I don't see anything at first glance, because I really have trained my mind not to recognize bull flags and bear flags and cup and handles and stuff. I mean, that's all I used to trade my first 3 years as a trader, and I never made money. They're the most manipulated retail formations. Everybody trades them when they start trading, and they're not consistent. I don't think you can build a career around them. I could be wrong. My 3 years of trading, I struggled a lot. Trading cup and handles and ascending triangles and descending triangles. They're extremely manipulated. They're not very consistent strategies, in my opinion, right? I would say they're coin tosses, 50-50. My playbook, I see great setups that are 70, 80% probabilities. And so I'm pretty biased, to say the least. When I see pennants and bull flags and bear flags and cup and handles and ascending triangles, descending triangles, I am biased, right? Because I've just trained my mind to not recognize those formations, because my first 3 years of trading, that's all I did, and I just got destroyed. But a lot of my 3 years too was, just mentality. So I am pretty biased to not, recognizing these types of formations. But you do have a bullish pennant, right? You do have that little leg up followed by this period of consolidation. You did have a nice pop yesterday. You did close above the 200 SMA. You had a pretty strong close with an increase in volume. And if you're going to see a continuation move today, you want to see what? You want to see a gap up today, right? If we're going to continue off yesterday's move and the start of this potential breakout, what do you want to see take place? You want to see a gap up come back down, hold the prior day, close and high as support, and then push off that level for the continuation move to the upside. So you do have that bullish pennant, right? But if you're just simply looking for that continuation, you're getting your gap up, right? You want to see this thing hold above that zone between 22.14 and 22.30. Let me repeat. 22.14 and 22.23 would be that zone you want to keep on watch. But have you even technically like broken this trend line yet? And if this is a bullish pennant, you know, you got this downtrend. It depends on where we open. Where's this downtrend at? You know, we're kind of sitting right at it. Depends on how you want to draw that trend line. I mean, you're kind of sitting right at it, depending on how you're connecting it. Maybe it already broke it yesterday. I would still say, you know, just look for the continuation, right? Look for the continuation move, the 23 and then 23.50, as long as you hold that lower zone of support between 22.14 and 22.23. But I can see the potential, man. Nice, strong day. Decent little uptick in volume. Strong close. I mean, it had a pretty strong close. And it also got above and closed above its 200 SMA. So we could see that continuation move today. It looks decent. Russell 2000, IWM. Is that what you went? Yeah, so I don't really like look at Russell all that much. But yeah, I mean, I can give you a little bit of a breakdown. First area that I would mark up is yesterday's close and yesterday's high a day. Okay. And I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm going to go mark up Friday's close and Friday's high a day to show you an example of a continuation. Sometimes we will gap up, pull back, and continue higher. Sometimes we gap down, but see a nice intraday break and retest for the next leg on up. So if we're looking for some continuation to the upside, we'll be able to use yesterday's price action as a decent little example of, you know, what could we see today and how could you look to trade this today. But let's find some overhead resistance. There we go, between 188.85 and 189.31. Right? And so you're going to be, you know, gapping down a little bit. But here's what you saw yesterday. You saw the same thing yesterday, right? You saw a little bit of a gap down, right? Compared to Friday's close and high a day. Right, you saw a little bit of a gap down, but what'd you do? You broke it, retested it, you moved to the upside. Even if you missed that first initial break and retest, what happened? You came back down, retested it beautifully, then you pushed to the upside, right? That's kind of what you want to see today above this zone, which is between 186.90 and 186.99. If you're going to get that continuation move up to this upper zone of resistance. So all you want to see is a break and hold above that zone for that next leg up. And it's exactly the same thing as you saw yesterday, right? Same thing that you saw yesterday, right? Where you actually gapped down below Friday's zone. You broke it, retested it, moved higher. Today, gapping down, right, below yesterday's zone. And that zone is literally just the prior day close and high. So if you're going to get that continuation move to the upside, you want to break and hold that zone, and then you could see this thing up towards around 188, like 88, first target to the upside. So that means about $1.80 of upside potential on IWM. You guys lost volume? Hello? 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 I mean, it looks good to me. Maybe do a refresh, brother man. But yeah, I mean, my audio seems to be working fine. Hello? 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 Oh, yeah, it's working. Cool. Thanks, man. I do. I just played it. Yeah, it's good on my end. So maybe a refresh. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's why I got to fill in the dead air 24/7, 365. It was literally I was quiet for like 10 seconds. There we go. It really makes me want to go play Mario, man. Really makes me want to play Mario. All right, guys, we're all set. We got 2 minutes till the market opens over on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the pre-market rundown. Literally, probably like the most underrated stream, but I appreciate the 17 viewers that are here. So keep coming back every day. Love having you here. Hopefully, you guys enjoy these sessions, getting prepared for the day. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We're doing this every day, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 9:30. To help you guys out at least through the rest of this year. All right, guys. So peace out. Take care. Have a good one. Stay blessed. Trade smart. Trade safe. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning, 8:30 on YouTube. Take care, guys. Have a good day.